All right, so we're diving into Nomad Capitalist today. This is a deep dive you've requested, so we know you're interested in this kind of, I guess, this lifestyle, this philosophy. Expert speaker is here to guide us through some of the big ideas.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a book that's not afraid to challenge how we usually think about things.
Right. I mean, it really makes you question like the assumptions about where you should live and how you should work and all that. Like right off the bat, the core philosophy: go where you're treated best. That's not just like finding a nice place to vacation, is it?
No, not at all. It's like it's a total, almost like a mental shift. The author himself, he actually left the U.S., said it didn't work for him anymore. He found other places that had lower taxes and fewer regulations. He wanted more personal freedom, and he found elsewhere. It's like he diversified his whole life, not just his money,
Yeah.
but like banking, taxes, even his, personal happiness.
That's wild. Diversifying your life like an investment portfolio. That must taken a lot of, I guess, a lot of guts to actually do that.
It did, yeah. He talks about selling pretty much everything he owned and
Yeah.
just, leaving with like a suitcase. Really interesting. And that whole taking action thing, it comes up, throughout the book.
Hmm. And speaking of action, I guess, let's talk about this nomad capitalist lifestyle. Is it just, working from a beach all the time? This book seems to say that's not really it.
Yeah, no, it's not just about that. It goes beyond that image. I mean, there's this uh base city plus focus cities
Mhm.
model. That was pretty interesting to me. So you'd have like a home base somewhere with low taxes, somewhere that works well for that. But then you get to spend a few months each year in other places that you find, exciting or interesting, all while still minimizing your taxes legally, of course.
So you're not constantly on the move, but you're not stuck in one place either. It's kind of finding that balance, something a lot of people are looking for, especially if you can, work from anywhere. One thing that kind of jumped out at me was the whole second passport thing. What's the big deal about that? Is it just, something that sounds cool?
Well, it's kind of like an insurance policy, like if something happens in your home country, you got a backup plan. Imagine like political problems or maybe the economy crashes. Um, a second passport gives you options. You're not trapped.
So it's not just about like running away from problems. It's about having choices.
Right.
And it sounds like there are, according to this book, there are a bunch of different ways to even get a second passport. Like you can even invest your way into one.
Yeah, citizenship by investment, it's getting more and more popular, especially for entrepreneurs. Imagine putting money into a country, investing there,
Hmm.
and then you get the right to live there, travel more freely, and potentially even benefit, if their economy takes off.
Okay, that one sounds a little like something out of a movie, maybe. But let's talk about offshore banking. Is it really as shady as it sounds? This book seems to think that's not the whole story.
Yeah, it really tackles that head on. It's not just about hiding money. Offshore banking can actually give you some real benefits, like better asset protection, sometimes higher interest rates. You can diversify your money into different currencies.
Diversifying your money. There's that word again. Um, the book mentioned Georgia, I think, as an example, right? Why Georgia?
Well, they have these surprisingly high interest rates, and it's relatively easy for people from other countries to open an account. That's appealing to some investors. And it shows you how the whole offshore scene is constantly shifting. There are always new opportunities popping up.
So you gotta stay informed, huh? And speaking of diversifying, this book claims you can slash your taxes legally by incorporating your business offshore. How is that even possible?
Well, it's about structuring your business in a way that um, lets you benefit from countries that have, friendly tax rates.
Yeah.
Imagine your business is like completely online. You could set up shop in a country with zero corporate tax. And, you wouldn't have to pay any corporate taxes at all. It's totally legal.
Okay, that's a pretty good argument, I guess, for entrepreneurs. But this all sounds pretty complicated. Are we talking like teams of lawyers and accountants here?
Oh, absolutely. This is not something you just do yourself.
Yeah.
You need experts who really understand international tax law to make sure you're doing everything, legally and safely.
All right, noted. So we've got offshore banking, offshore business. What about investments? Does this book just focus on real estate or are there other things to consider?
While it does mention real estate, places like Georgia or Cambodia, it really pushes you to think beyond that too. One thing it talks about is frontier market entrepreneurship. So going into these high growth countries that have less competition.
Sounds a bit risky, but I guess if you're up for the challenge, maybe there's a big payoff there. What are some other like non-traditional investments they talk about?
Well, there's this idea of wellness tourism, basically traveling to other countries for affordable healthcare. It's like, you can get excellent medical treatment and preventative care in places like Thailand or Malaysia, and it can be way cheaper than in the US.
Makes sense, especially if you're already, living that location independent life. You can take care of your health without going broke.
Right. And then there's a whole section on privately vaulted precious metals. Basically, it's about holding assets like gold or silver in a secure vault in another country, like Singapore, for example. And the book says that, at least for U.S. citizens, it can be a way to hold assets privately, potentially even avoid reporting them to the IRS.
Okay. So it's another way to diversify your assets. It sounds like this book really wants you to think outside the box when it comes to investing.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
And it comes back to that taking action idea again. It's not just about research, it's about actually doing something. He talks about, he tells these stories about his own experiences, like buying property in Serbia with like a suitcase full of cash.
Yeah.
It's wild. It shows you that you got to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone.
Those stories definitely make it more real, more relatable. It's not just theory, it's someone actually doing it. Speaking of that, the book talks a lot about mindset. What does that even mean? What's the nomad mindset?
Well, it's about moving beyond just, planning and planning. It's about being comfortable with being a little uncomfortable, embracing that. The author even has a whole chapter called The Nomad Mindset with like 8 principles for creating the life you want.
8 principles. Okay, that's a lot to cover. Maybe give me one that really, really stood out to you.
One that I thought was really interesting was the concept of feeling the pain.
Feeling the pain sounds a little intense.
It's not about, physical pain, but more like the discomfort that comes with making changes. He compares it to, like firing an employee who's not performing well. It's painful to do in the short term, but it's ultimately good for the business, right?
Yeah.
Making big life choices can feel kind of similar.
So it's about being okay with that discomfort, knowing that it can lead to good things in the long run. That's a good message for anyone thinking about making a big change. Now you mentioned second passports before. I think it's worth driving a little deeper into that.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that people have a lot of questions about, especially because it seems so out of reach for most people.
Right. So let's break it down a little bit. Why is a second passport so valuable, especially from this nomad capitalist perspective?
It all comes back to that diversifying your citizenship thing we talked about. It's a safeguard. If things go wrong in your home country, you've got options. You're not stuck.
And it's not just about like personal safety, right? It can also give you more freedom to move around the world.
Oh, yeah. Some passports let you travel to like way more countries without needing a visa. So if your current passport is holding you back, a second one can really open things up.
Even for U.S. citizens, people think a U.S. passport is like a golden ticket, but even they still need visas for some places.
That's true. And a second passport could actually give a U.S. citizen more freedom to travel than their U.S. passport alone. Kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So how do you even go about getting a second passport? I think this book mentioned a few different ways, right?
Yeah, there are a few different paths, each with their own complexities, I guess. There's citizenship by descent. Sometimes people call it the Lucky Sperm Club.
Yeah.
Basically, you get citizenship based on your family tree.
So, like, if your grandparent was from Ireland, you might be able to get an Irish passport, kind of like reclaiming a lost part of your heritage.
Exactly. Although it usually involves a ton of paperwork. You might need, like, birth certificates and marriage licenses and all sorts of things to prove your lineage.
That sounds like a headache. But I guess for some people, it's worth it. What are some other ways?
Well, there's naturalization through residency. So you live legally in a country for a certain number of years. You meet their requirements, like learning the language, maybe passing a test or something, and then you can apply for citizenship.
So you could move to Portugal, for example, become a resident, and eventually apply for citizenship. Seems like a more doable path for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is, but it takes commitment, and you have to plan it carefully. Every country has its own rules, of course.
Of course. And then there's the I guess, what some people call the pay-to-play method or citizenship by investment.
Yeah, that's often the fastest way, but also the most expensive. Some countries, mostly in the Caribbean and Europe, will give you citizenship if you invest a significant amount of money. It could be real estate, government bonds, or even a donation to their, um, national development fund.
And the author of this book, he actually got a passport from the Comoros Islands this way.
He did, he did. But he also points out that, um, while a Comorian passport might have some perks, it's not the most powerful passport in terms of, how many countries you can travel to without a visa. It's all about choosing the program that actually fits your needs and your goals.
Right, makes sense. So if you're thinking about a second passport, what are the biggest things to think about?
Well, it starts with your motivation. Why do you even want one? Are you looking for, tax benefits, asset protection, freedom of movement? Different passports have different advantages. And of course, you have to think about the cost, not just the money, but also the time and effort involved.
And sounds like getting expert advice is crucial throughout the whole process.
Yeah, definitely. This is not something you want to DIY. Now, another thing we touched on was offshore company incorporation. And this book argues that it can really lower your tax burden legally. Can we break that down a little bit more?
For sure. What are the main, I guess, advantages of incorporating offshore?
Yeah.
And who might benefit from it?
Well, it comes down to minimizing how much you pay in taxes.
Right.
And you can really do that if you structure your business the right way. Some countries have crazy low corporate tax rates. Like some are even 0%.
Whoa, 0%. So, I mean, if you're running a business online, you could set it up in one of these places and legally not pay any corporate taxes at all.
Exactly. But it's super important to understand that incorporating offshore is about optimizing your business legally. It's not about hiding money or doing anything illegal with your taxes.
Right, right. Playing by the rules, but also taking advantage of opportunities that are out there.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. And it can also give you more control over how your business operates. You're subject to the laws and regulations of that jurisdiction, which might be more business friendly than where you're currently at.
So you get to choose the playing field that works best for you. You're not stuck with, where you happen to be born.
Right. Now, the book talks about choosing the right jurisdiction for your business. But how do you even begin to figure that out?
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty daunting task.
Well, there are a lot of things to consider, like the political situation, the economy, how easy it is to do business there, if you need skilled workers,
Yeah.
what the overall tax environment is like. It's like choosing a home for your business, I guess.
Interesting. And the book, it mentions Georgia and the Seychelles as good options for offshore incorporation. What makes them stand out?
Well, Georgia is known for being really easy to do business in, and they have low tax rates. The Seychelles has a reputation for privacy and protecting your assets. So it really depends on what your specific business needs.
Sounds like, again, research and expert advice are key here. So what types of businesses would really get the most out of incorporating offshore?
Usually businesses that don't rely on a physical location, businesses that, make money internationally, like online businesses, consulting firms, investment companies, things like that.
So a brick and mortar store probably wouldn't really benefit.
Probably not, no.
Yeah.
But a software company selling, products online all over the world, they could see a huge benefit from incorporating offshore. It's about, taking advantage of the global marketplace.
Makes sense. Now, the book gets into the nuts and bolts of how to incorporate offshore. But one thing that I found really interesting was this foreign income exclusion. It's for U.S. citizens. Can you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, it's called the FEIE.
Yeah.
And it's a really great tool for Americans who are living and working abroad. Basically, it lets them exclude some of their foreign income from U.S. federal income tax. Even though technically they have to pay taxes on their worldwide income.
So even though they're taxed on everything they earn, this FEIE gives them a way to lower their tax burden potentially quite a bit.
Exactly. But, there's some rules you have to follow to qualify. Like you have to spend a certain amount of time outside of the U.S. and your tax home has to be in a foreign country.
Sounds like a good strategy for Americans who are, embracing this whole nomad capitalist lifestyle.
Definitely. But as with anything tax related, you gotta talk to a professional, make sure you're doing everything right.
All right, solid advice. So we've covered offshore banking, offshore businesses. Now let's talk about investments. Does Nomad Capitalist just focus on real estate, or are there other options they talk about?
Well, it does mention real estate, but it really encourages you to diversify, to explore other options as well. It talks about investing in frontier markets,
Mm.
getting involved in emerging industries, looking into alternative asset classes. It's all about being less traditional, a little more adventurous.
Frontier market entrepreneurship, I think that caught my eye. What exactly does that involve?
Well, it's about finding business opportunities in countries that are kind of in the early stages of development. They often have a lot of potential for growth, less competition, and sometimes the regulations are a bit more favorable.
So there's potentially a big reward, but also more risk involved.
Yeah, for sure. It's not for everybody. But if you've got that entrepreneurial spirit and you're not afraid of, some uncertainty, frontier markets could be really rewarding.
The author mentions Cambodia, Laos, and some countries in Eastern Europe as potential places to look into for this. Have you ever explored any of those markets yourself?
I spent some time in Cambodia, and it's fascinating. The economy is growing super fast, and there are a lot of opportunities there if you're willing to adapt to a different way of doing business.
It's almost like stepping back in time a little bit, seeing a country, really transforming. Must be both exciting and challenging to work in that kind of environment. What kind of advice does the author give for navigating those frontier markets?
He really stresses the importance of doing your research, due diligence, and building strong relationships with locals, and being flexible, being ready for things to not always go as planned.
So being prepared for the unexpected and being willing to learn as you go.
Exactly. That's really key.
Those are some great insights. It's all about balancing the potential for reward with the risk and managing that effectively. Now, let's move on to another interesting area that the book talks about. Wellness tourism.
Yeah, this is all about traveling to other countries to get high-quality health care, but at a much lower cost. The author actually used this approach himself. He got excellent medical treatment in Thailand and Malaysia, and it cost him way less than it would have in the U.S.
He even talks about a positive experience he had in the emergency room in Kuala Lumpur. It really challenges, what we think about healthcare in other countries.
It does. It does. It's about being open to different approaches
Mhm.
and recognizing that quality healthcare doesn't have to cost a fortune.
The book really pushes for a proactive approach to health, and wellness tourism could be a big part of that, especially if you're into, preventative care and things like that.
For sure. And it just makes sense if you're already living that location-independent life.
Yeah.
You can incorporate it into your travel plans.
Yeah. Now, Nomad Capitalist talks a lot about diversification, but it doesn't completely dismiss real estate, right?
Hmm.
What are some of the key points they make about real estate investments?
Yeah, they acknowledge that real estate can be, a powerful way to build wealth,
Mhm.
especially in certain markets. But they emphasize that you have to understand the local market. You
Yeah.
have to choose properties that actually fit your investment goals. It's not just about buying any random property. It's about being strategic.
Right, right. The author talks about his own experiences investing in places like Serbia, Georgia, and Cambodia. What kind of insights does he offer from those experiences?
He stresses the importance of due diligence, doing your research, working with trustworthy local partners,
Uh-huh.
and being ready for the complexities of dealing with foreign property markets. He also warns against, just chasing after the latest hot market. He says it's better to be strategic, to base your decisions on research and analysis.
So being informed, doing your homework, making calculated decisions, not just jumping in blindly.
Exactly. He really emphasizes diversification, not just in terms of, what types of assets you hold, but also geographically. Spreading your investments across different countries can help to, reduce risk and make your overall financial situation more secure.
It's that same theme of not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? Figuratively and literally. This book really seems to encourage a global approach to investing and managing your money. Now, one of the core ideas in Nomad Capitalist is this "go where you're treated best" concept. What are some real world examples of how someone could actually apply that?
Okay, so imagine you're an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right? You want to start an online business. You could choose to incorporate that business in Estonia because they have, a really good tax system for online businesses. Or let's say you're a digital nomad and you want to, live somewhere with a low cost of living and a really cool community. You might think about moving to Chiang Mai in Thailand.
Those are good examples. It's about figuring out what your priorities are and then doing some research to see which countries, offer the best environment for you to achieve your goals.
Yeah, exactly. The book really encourages you to think outside the box, to consider places that you might not have even thought of before.
And it's not just about, finding the cheapest place to live. It's about finding the place that really fits, your lifestyle and your values.
Absolutely. It's about creating a life where you feel valued, respected,
Yeah.
and where you feel like you can actually pursue your dreams. And it's about recognizing that not all countries are the same. Some are more business friendly, some
Mhm.
offer more personal freedom, and some just have, a better quality of life overall.
It's about choosing the places that really align with what's important to you. It's about taking control and designing, a future that you're actually excited about.
Exactly. And it's about being adaptable. The world is constantly changing. And if you're going to be a nomad capitalist, you got to be willing to adjust your strategies, embrace new opportunities when they come up.
So it's about having that growth mindset, being open to constantly learning and evolving.
Absolutely. The author really encourages us to view challenges as opportunities to learn and grow,
Yeah.
and to never stop looking for ways to improve our lives and our businesses.
That's a really powerful message. It's about embracing the unknown, being open to new possibilities and always striving to be the best version of yourself.
I agree. This book it's more than just a guide to finance. It's like a blueprint for creating a life of freedom, purpose, and fulfillment on your own terms.
And speaking of creating a life on your own terms, let's talk a little bit more about this nomad mindset. This book really emphasizes that it's not just about knowing the strategies, but about actually having the courage to take action.
Yeah, he really pushes you to move beyond, just an endless research and planning.
Hmm.
He says you have to embrace discomfort.
You mentioned the idea of feeling the pain before. Are there any other principles from the nomad mindset that really resonated with you?
One that really stood out to me was the idea of challenging limiting beliefs.
Mm.
Those beliefs that hold us back and tell us that we can't do something or that we're not good enough.
He gives examples of, people who have overcome some pretty big obstacles to create lives of freedom and abundance. And it shows that, anything is possible if you have the courage to believe in yourself and to actually take action.
Exactly. He challenges us to question those assumptions that we have, like the belief that we have to stay in our home country or that, we can't afford to live a certain lifestyle or that we're just not capable of achieving our dreams.
It's about recognizing that we often create our own limitations and that we have the power to break free from those limitations. Now, another important part of the nomad mindset is taking calculated risks. He's not talking about, being reckless, is he?
No, not at all. It's about carefully thinking about opportunities,
Yeah.
weighing the potential rewards against the risks,
Hmm.
and then making an informed decision. It's not just about jumping into things blindly.
He believes that, often our comfort zones are the biggest thing holding us back from success, and that we need to push ourselves beyond those limitations to really reach our full potential.
Yeah. He shares stories about, his own experiences with investing in unconventional markets or pursuing business ventures that other people might have thought were too risky. And he shows how taking those calculated risks, if you do it strategically, can lead to amazing results.
And he reminds us that failure isn't, the opposite of success. It's actually part of the process.
Exactly. He encourages us to embrace failure, to see it as an opportunity to learn and to grow.
He believes that the most successful people are often those who have, failed the most, but they've learned from those mistakes and kept going. Now, another principle he highlights is the power of leverage. What does he mean by that?
Leverage is about using other people's time, money, and expertise to help you achieve your goals faster.
So building a team, delegating tasks, outsourcing work to free up your time and energy to focus on the things you're really good at.
Exactly. And he also talks about leveraging financial tools like offshore banking and strategic investment strategies to maximize your returns and protect your assets.
It sounds like leverage is all about working smarter, not harder. It's about using the resources that are available to you to make a bigger impact and to achieve your goals more efficiently. Now, one of the key strategies that he outlines in the book is this base city plus focus cities model for designing a location-independent lifestyle. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's about finding a balance between, stability and flexibility. You have a home base, your main place, somewhere with favorable laws and taxes and all that, but you also have the freedom to travel and explore other places.
So you're not constantly moving, but you're not tied down to one place either.
Right. He suggests choosing your base city based on things like tax rates, the cost of living, the quality of life, and how easy it is to travel from there to other places.
So finding a place that really works for your lifestyle, but also, makes sense financially.
Exactly. And then you can strategically choose your focus cities. Maybe you rent an apartment for a few months, or you stay in hotels, or you use co-working spaces.
That way you get to experience different cultures, maybe explore some new business opportunities, expand your network, but you still have that sense of stability and routine from your home base.
It's a really interesting way to create a lifestyle that's both adventurous and sustainable.
Speaking of sustainable, let's dive into some of the specific strategies and tactics the book outlines for achieving financial freedom. One that really jumps out is tax optimization.
Yeah, the author makes a pretty bold statement. He says that we have a moral obligation to legally minimize our tax burden. He believes that, excessive taxation is a form of theft and that we should try to keep as much of our hard-earned money as possible.
That's a strong statement for sure. So how does he suggest we go about legally minimizing our taxes?
Well, he offers a whole range of strategies, things like incorporating offshore, establishing residency in tax-friendly jurisdictions, and taking advantage of, all the legal deductions and exemptions that are available.
So it's about understanding the rules of the game and playing it strategically to your advantage.
Exactly. But he also emphasizes that you need to work with qualified tax professionals to make sure you're doing everything by the book. He's not advocating for any, shady tax evasion schemes.
Right. So being smart, being strategic, but also being ethical and responsible.
Absolutely. Now, another important financial strategy that he talks about is asset protection. What comes to mind when you hear that term?
Protecting your wealth from things like lawsuits or creditors, right. Making sure that your hard-earned money is safe.
Exactly. And he recommends diversifying your assets geographically, holding them in multiple jurisdictions, and using legal structures like trusts and offshore companies to shield your wealth from potential risks.
So creating a safety net for your wealth, essentially, protecting it from unforeseen circumstances. Who does he recommend this strategy for? Is it just for, the super rich?
No, not at all. He says it's important for anyone who's built up some wealth, especially entrepreneurs and investors. It's about being proactive and taking steps to safeguard what you've worked hard to achieve.
Makes sense. The more you have, the more you have to lose, so the more important it is to protect it.
Right. Now, let's move on to investing. Nomad Capitalist provides a framework for building a diversified portfolio that can generate passive income and long-term wealth.
Does it just focus on the traditional investments like stocks and bonds, or does it go beyond that?
Well, while it does mention stocks and bonds, it really encourages exploring a wider range of asset classes, including real estate, precious metals, and alternative investments, things like cryptocurrencies and private equity. It's about taking a more global approach to investing.
So it sounds like he wants us to think outside the box a little bit, to consider options that we might not have thought of before.
Absolutely. He emphasizes understanding your risk tolerance, investing for the long term, and seeking professional advice when you need it. He also gives some insights into specific investment strategies like value investing, dividend investing, and real estate investing.
It's almost like a crash course in global investing, giving people the tools and knowledge to make informed decisions and take control of their financial future. Now, one area where the book really goes deep is offshore banking. What are
One of
some
the key takeaways from that section.
Yeah, what are some of the big things people should know?
Well, he really tries to debunk some of the myths around offshore banking. It's
Wow.
not just for criminals or the super rich. He talks about some legitimate benefits like increased asset protection. Sometimes you can get higher interest rates and you can diversify your money into different currencies.
So it's about taking advantage of the global financial system, finding the best opportunities out there to manage and grow your wealth. What kind of practical advice does he give for people who are, thinking about exploring offshore banking?
He gives advice on how to choose the right bank, how to open accounts, and how to, manage your money internationally. And he also talks about the importance of understanding the the legal and regulatory side of things, like reporting requirements and how it all works with taxes.
So it's about being informed, being prepared, making sure you're playing by the rules.
Exactly. It's not just about opening an account and hoping for the best. You got to be strategic about it. Now, one thing that really sets Nomad Capitalist apart is that it doesn't just focus on the financial side of freedom. It also talks about creating a fulfilling and meaningful life.
Right. It's not just about, having money. It's about having a life that you actually enjoy.
Exactly. He encourages pursuing your passions, traveling the world, connecting with new people, experiencing different cultures. It's about, realizing that true freedom is about more than just money. It's about having the freedom to choose how you spend your time and what you want your life to be about.
And what kind of practical advice does he give for actually designing a location independent lifestyle?
Well, he gives tips on managing your time effectively, staying motivated on your journey to freedom and creating a lifestyle that supports your goals, both personally and professionally. It's about finding that balance between work and play, between adventure and stability.
And throughout the book, he weaves in personal anecdotes and real world examples to illustrate his points and make the concepts, more relatable.
Yeah, he shares stories about his own experiences with living and working abroad, investing in these unconventional markets and building a successful business while living that nomadic lifestyle.
Those stories definitely make the book, more engaging and inspiring. It's not just theory, it's proof that these principles can actually be applied in real life.
Exactly. And he also shares insights from other successful entrepreneurs and investors who've adopted this nomad capitalist philosophy, which gives you some different perspectives.
It's almost like having, a network of mentors and advisors all sharing their wisdom and their experiences.
It is. And it highlights the fact that there's no one right way to live this nomad capitalist lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's about finding what works for you,
Yeah.
taking inspiration from others and creating your own unique path.
This book seems to offer, a ton of information and inspiration for anyone who's looking for more freedom and control over their life and their finances.
Definitely. It gives you a framework for thinking differently about success, challenging conventional wisdom and really embracing a global perspective.
It's about realizing that you have options. The world is full of possibilities.
And it's about taking action. It's not enough to just read about these strategies. You have to actually put them into practice.
He encourages people to start small, take little steps and gradually build momentum.
And he also emphasizes the importance of getting guidance and support along the way.
He believes that, we don't have to do this alone. There are resources out there to help us on our journey to freedom.
Exactly. It's about building a network, finding mentors, and surrounding yourself with people who inspire you and support your vision.
Now, one of the most common questions people have when they're, thinking about this nomad capitalist lifestyle is where to even start. What kind of guidance does the book offer for people who might be feeling overwhelmed?
The book says you should start by identifying your why. Like, what's your motivation for wanting to do this? What are you hoping to achieve? Once you have a clear understanding of your goals, you can start to research different countries and explore the options that align with your vision.
So it's about getting clear on what you want your life to look like and then working backward to figure out how to get there. What's the next step after that?
Then it's time to start taking action. You don't have to make, huge changes all at once. Start small, identify one or two areas where you can make some adjustments, and go from there.
It's about taking those first steps, even if they're tiny, just to start building momentum and moving in the right direction. What are some practical steps that someone could take, right away?
Well, a simple one is to just start educating yourself. Read books, listen to podcasts, attend seminars, connect with people who are already living the kind of lifestyle that you want.
Immerse yourself in the world of nomad capitalists, learn from those who've already done it. What are some other resources that people could look into?
There are tons of online communities and forums where people share their experiences, their tips, and their advice. It's a great way to, connect with like-minded people, ask questions, and get support.
It's like having a global network of mentors and peers right at your fingertips. Now, the book also talks about taking calculated risks. What does that mean exactly in the context of nomad capitalism?
It's not about being reckless or making, rash decisions. It's about carefully considering the opportunities that are out there, weighing the potential rewards against the risks, and then making a well-informed decision.
So understanding that growth and progress often involve, stepping outside of your comfort zone and being okay with a little bit of uncertainty.
Exactly. And the book gives you a framework for managing risk
Yeah.
effectively. It's about having backup plans, having multiple sources of income, and being prepared for the unexpected.
So it's about having a safety net, basically, so that you can take those calculated risks without, putting your financial security or your overall well-being at risk. Now, one of the most intriguing things in Nomad Capitalist is this concept of flag theory. Can you explain what that is and how it relates to creating a more free life?
Flag theory is all about diversifying your life and your assets across different countries. It's like having a backup plan for your life, a plan B, maybe even a plan C and D.
So again, it's that idea of not putting all your eggs in one basket, both, literally and figuratively.
Exactly. By strategically planting flags in different countries, you can reduce your dependence on any one government or economy, protect your assets from potential threats, and gain access to a wider range of opportunities.
So it's like creating a more, secure and flexible lifestyle. You're not limited by the constraints of a single country or a single system.
Exactly. And the book provides, practical strategies for putting this flag theory into action, such as obtaining second passports, establishing residency in different countries, incorporating businesses offshore, and investing in real estate in strategic locations.
So it's like creating this global network of options and opportunities. It allows you to live and work wherever you choose, to potentially optimize your taxes and finances, and to protect your assets from those potential risks that we talked about.
Exactly. And the author stresses choosing places that actually align with your values and your goals. Whether that's low taxes, personal freedom, a high quality of life, or a business-friendly environment.
So it's about designing a life that really reflects what's important to you. It's about taking control of your destiny and creating a life that's truly tailored to your individual needs and aspirations. Now, one of the most common questions that people have when they're, exploring this flag theory concept is how do you even decide where to plant your flags? What kind of guidance does the book offer in that area?
The book encourages you to think about things like your personal situation, your risk tolerance, your long-term goals, and the specific advantages and disadvantages of different places. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. It's a very personalized process.
So it's not about following a formula. It's about creating a strategy that really works for you and your unique goals and aspirations.
Exactly. And the book gives you a framework for making these decisions strategically, making sure that every flag that you plant serves a purpose and helps you move closer to your overall goals.
Sounds like it's about creating a global lifestyle that enhances your freedom, your security, and your prosperity. Now, you mentioned earlier that this book isn't just for, the wealthy or the privileged. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the author really believes that the principles and strategies in the book can be applied by anyone who wants more freedom and control over their life. It doesn't matter what your current income is or what your circumstances are.
It's about empowering individuals to create a life they love, regardless of, where they're starting from.
Exactly. He shares stories of people from all walks of life who have successfully embraced this nomad capitalist philosophy, showing that it's possible to achieve freedom and prosperity, even if you're not starting with a lot of resources.
Those stories are really inspiring. It's a reminder that freedom is not a privilege reserved for the wealthy. It's a choice that anyone can make. What are some of the key takeaways from those stories that might resonate with our listeners?
Well, one common thread is the importance of mindset. It's about believing in yourself, being resourceful, and taking action, even if it's just one small step at a time.
So it's about recognizing that you have the power to create the life you want, no matter what your current situation looks like.
Exactly. And the book also emphasizes the importance of challenging those limiting beliefs we talked about before.
Yeah.
The ones that tell us we're not good enough or smart enough or that we just can't achieve our dreams.
It's about, recognizing those negative thoughts and replacing them with more positive and empowering beliefs.
Exactly. He encourages us to focus on our strengths, to celebrate our successes, and to believe in our ability to achieve our goals.
So it's about developing that growth mindset where you see challenges as opportunities for learning and you use them to grow. Now, another key concept that the book emphasizes is self-reliance. What does that mean in the context of nomad capitalism?
It's about taking ownership of your life, your finances, your future, It's about developing the skills and knowledge you need to be independent and self-sufficient.
So it's not about relying on other people to, provide for you or solve your problems. It's about empowering yourself to create the life that you want.
Exactly. It's about being resourceful, being creative, and finding solutions to challenges, even when those challenges seem really difficult.
It's about having that can-do attitude and believing that you can figure things out even when you're in unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, the author encourages us to develop a proactive mindset, to set clear goals and take consistent action to achieve those goals.
So taking responsibility for your own life and not waiting for, someone else to give you permission to succeed. Now, for someone who is feeling inspired by this book and wants to start taking action, what are some practical steps they can take to embark on their own nomad capitalist journey?
Well, as we mentioned before, the first step is to define your vision. Get really clear on what you want your life to look like. What are your goals, your values, your aspirations?
It's about creating a roadmap for your journey, knowing where you want to go before you start taking those first steps.
Exactly. Then you need to identify your why, that driving force, the reason you want to create this new life.
Having a strong why is so important. It's what's going to keep you motivated when you inevitably face challenges and setbacks along the way.
Absolutely. And once you've defined your vision and you know your why, you can start to assess your current situation. Take a look at your finances, your skills, your resources, and your current lifestyle. Figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, and explore the opportunities and challenges that are out there.
So taking a realistic look at where you are now and where you want to be. What's next?
Then it's time to set some clear, specific goals. Break down your big goals into smaller, more manageable steps, and create a timeline for achieving those steps.
So making those goals tangible and actionable, basically creating a roadmap for your journey with specific milestones along the way. What else is important?
You need to develop a plan of action. Figure out what resources you need, what steps you need to take, and who can support you along the way.
So it's not just about dreaming, it's about having a strategy and a plan.
Exactly. And once you have a plan, you need to start taking action. Even if it's just one small step at a time, consistent action will help you move closer to your goals.
It's about building momentum, creating a sense of progress. What about resources and support? Where can people find that?
Well, educate yourself. Read books, listen to podcasts, attend seminars, and connect with people who are already living the lifestyle that you want.
So surrounding yourself with inspiration and knowledge. And don't be afraid to ask for help along the way.
Exactly. There are a lot of resources available to help you, including mentors, coaches, and online communities.
So recognizing that you don't have to do this alone. There are people out there who are willing to help you succeed.
Building a location-independent lifestyle and achieving financial freedom takes time, effort, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. And the author encourages us to be patient, to be persistent, and to never give up on our dreams.
It's about believing in yourself, trusting the process, and enjoying the adventure along the way. Now, as we go a bit deeper into the nomad capitalist philosophy, I want to highlight one of the most important concepts, which is the idea of living a life of purpose.
The author argues that true happiness and fulfillment come from living a life that aligns with your values, pursuing your passions, and making a positive impact on the world.
So it's not just about, material success or external achievements. It's about creating a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling on a deeper level.
Exactly. It's about living authentically, creating a life that reflects who you truly are.
What kind of guidance does the book offer for discovering your purpose and actually living a more meaningful life?
Well, he encourages us to start by identifying our core values, those guiding principles that shape our decisions and our actions.
So it's about understanding what's truly important to you and then making choices that are consistent with those values.
Exactly. And once you understand your values, you can start to make choices that are aligned with them, whether it's in your career, your relationships, or just your lifestyle choices.
It's about living with integrity, where your actions reflect your beliefs. What about passions? How do those fit into the picture?
He also encourages us to identify our passions, those things that bring us joy, give us energy, and make us feel fulfilled.
So it's about figuring out what lights you up and then finding ways to incorporate those things into your life, even if it's just in small ways.
Exactly. He believes that when we pursue our passions, we bring more meaning and purpose into our lives.
It's about making time for the things that bring you joy, whether it's a hobby, a creative pursuit, or just spending quality time with the people you love. Now, in addition to values and passions, the author also emphasizes the importance of contribution.
He believes that true success is not just about personal gain, but also about making a positive difference in the lives of others.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected and that we have a responsibility to give back to the community and make the world a better place.
Exactly. It's about using our skills, our resources, our influence
Mhm.
to make a positive impact on the world.
So, leaving the world a better place than we found it. Now, one of the key strategies that the book outlines for living a life of purpose is to align your work with your values. What does that mean in practical terms?
It means finding a career or a business that allows you to express your passions, use your skills, and contribute to something that you believe in.
So, it's about finding work that feels meaningful and fulfilling, not just a job that pays the bills.
Right. The author encourages us to explore unconventional career paths, to think about entrepreneurship, and to be open to opportunities that align with our values, even if they're outside of our comfort zones.
So, it's about creating a career that's both personally and professionally rewarding.
He also stresses finding work that's both challenging and rewarding, work that helps you grow, learn, and make a positive impact.
Finding that sweet spot where you're engaged and challenged, but also feeling fulfilled by the work that you're doing. Now, in addition to aligning your work with your values, the book also talks about creating a lifestyle that supports your purpose.
That means designing a lifestyle that allows you to pursue your passions, spend time with the people who are important to you, and engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment.
So, creating a life that feels balanced and harmonious, where you have time for the things that matter most.
Exactly. He encourages us to be mindful of how we spend our time, to eliminate distractions, and to create space for the things that are truly important.
So, being intentional with your time and energy and making choices that align with your values and your vision for your life.
Right. He also stresses being present and engaged in the moment, appreciating the simple things in life, and cultivating gratitude for all that we have.
It's about savoring the journey, not just focusing on the destination, finding joy in the everyday moments and appreciating all the good things that are already present in our lives.
Exactly. It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we have, and developing a mindset of abundance and gratitude.
Nomad Capitalist really gives you a framework for creating a life that's both purposeful and fulfilling. A life where you have the freedom to design your own destiny, make a positive impact, and experience genuine happiness. Now, one of the most powerful things about this nomad capitalist philosophy is its focus on creating a life of abundance. What does abundance actually mean in the context of this book?
Abundance is about having more than enough of what you need and want. It's about experiencing a sense of fullness and prosperity in every area of your life, not just financially.
So it's not just about having a lot of money, it's about feeling abundant in your relationships, your health, your spiritual well being, all of it.
Exactly. The author encourages us to shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance, to believe that there's enough for everyone, and to focus on creating a life that's rich in all the things that truly matter.
It's about moving away from that fear based mindset of lack and embracing a more positive and expansive view of the world.
Exactly. And the book offers some practical strategies for cultivating an abundance mindset. One of the key strategies is to focus on your strengths.
So, recognizing your talents and abilities and finding ways to use them to create value and achieve your goals.
Exactly. He also says it's important to delegate or outsource tasks that you're not good at or that drain your energy so you can free up your time to focus on what you do best.
Working smarter, not harder. Recognizing that you don't have to do everything yourself. It's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely. Another important strategy is to cultivate a positive mindset.
So, focusing on the good things in our lives, being grateful for what we have, and believing in our ability to achieve our goals.
Exactly. He encourages us to surround ourselves with positive people, to consume inspiring content, and to practice affirmations and other techniques that support a positive and optimistic outlook.
So, creating an environment that nurtures your growth and your well being.
Right. He also stresses the importance of taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
So, getting enough sleep, eating healthy, exercising regularly, and doing things that recharge you and make you feel good.
Exactly. He believes that by prioritizing our well-being, we create a foundation for success and happiness in every area of our lives.
It's that idea of, you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of yourself is essential for achieving your goals and living a fulfilling life.
Right. Now, one common misconception about abundance is that it's all about material possessions. But the book argues that true abundance is about so much more than that.
It's about having a rich and fulfilling life that's filled with love, joy, purpose, and connection. It's about feeling truly alive and grateful for all that we have.
Exactly. It's about experiencing gratitude for what we have, giving back to others, and living in alignment with our values.
Nomad Capitalist really gives you a framework for creating a life of abundance in all areas, from your finances to your relationships to your spiritual well-being.
It's about developing a mindset of possibility, believing that you can have it all, and then taking action to make it happen.
Now, as we wrapped up our deep dive into Nomad Capitalist, I want to touch on one of the most transformative ideas in the book: embracing a global perspective.
It's about seeing the world as your oyster, breaking free from those limitations that we've, kind of inherited from our upbringing and our culture, and exploring all the incredible opportunities that exist beyond our own little corner of the world.
It's about expanding your horizons, realizing that you're not limited by, the geographical boundaries of where you happen to be born.
Exactly. He challenges us to step outside our comfort zones, immerse ourselves in different cultures, maybe even learn new languages, and connect with people from all walks of life.
So it's about embracing the diversity of the world,
Hmm.
recognizing that there are so many different ways to live, work, and experience life.
He believes that when we embrace a global perspective, we broaden our understanding of the world and we open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibilities that we might never have even imagined.
So it's about challenging those assumptions that we have, expanding our worldview, and realizing that we're all connected. We're all part of this global community. What are some of the key benefits of actually adopting a global perspective?
Well, for one thing, it allows you to see the world through different lenses, to challenge your own assumptions and gain a deeper understanding of your own values and beliefs.
So it's about developing a more nuanced and informed perspective on the world.
Exactly. And it exposes you to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and new approaches to problem solving.
So it's about expanding your mind, challenging yourself to think differently.
Right. Another benefit is that it opens up a whole world of opportunities, whether that's in business, travel, or personal growth.
It's about realizing that the world is a global marketplace. It's full of potential customers, clients, collaborators. The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. The author encourages us to see the world as a global marketplace where we can connect with people from all over and create opportunities that just wouldn't be available if we stayed within our own little bubble.
It's about taking advantage of globalization and using it to create a more fulfilling and richer life.
He also talks about the benefits of, actually traveling to different countries, experiencing new cultures firsthand, and learning from people with diverse backgrounds and perspectives.
So expanding your understanding of the world and of yourself through those direct experiences.
Exactly. He believes that by embracing a global lifestyle, we can enrich our lives, grow our networks, and create opportunities that would have never been possible if we stayed within the confines of our own culture.
Now, embracing a global perspective doesn't mean, abandoning your roots or rejecting your own culture, right?
No, not at all. It's about finding that balance between, appreciating the diversity of the world and staying connected to your own heritage and values.
So it's about realizing that you can be both a citizen of the world and a proud member of your own community.
Exactly. The author encourages us to find ways to bridge cultures, to build relationships with people from different backgrounds, and to contribute to a more interconnected and harmonious world.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity and working together to create a better future for everyone.
Now, one of the challenges that people often face when trying to embrace a global perspective is overcoming their own biases and preconceived notions.
It's easy to get stuck in our own way of thinking and, to judge others based on our limited experiences.
We're all products of our upbringing and our cultural conditioning, and it can be tough to see the world through a truly objective lens.
So what advice does the author give for overcoming those biases and developing a more, open-minded perspective?
He encourages us to be aware of our own biases, to challenge our assumptions, and to be open to new ways of thinking and being.
So being willing to question what we believe and consider different points of view.
Exactly. He also emphasizes the importance of empathy, of trying to understand the world from other people's perspectives, and of treating everyone with respect and compassion.
So recognizing that we're all connected and that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter their background or their beliefs.
Nomad Capitalist gives you a framework for embracing that global perspective, for expanding your horizons, and for creating a life that's personally fulfilling, but also makes a positive impact on the world.
This book really is packed with information and inspiration for anyone who wants more freedom, control, and abundance in their life.
It challenges you to redefine success, to embrace a global perspective, and to create a life that's both personally rewarding and meaningful to the world. It can inspire you to dream bigger, to think differently, and to take action.
It's a reminder that freedom is a choice, and that we all have the power to create a life that we truly love. So there you have it, our deep dive into Nomad Capitalist. We've explored a lot of really interesting ideas about location independence, financial freedom, and creating a life that's aligned with your values and your vision for the future. Hopefully this has given you some food for thought and maybe even some inspiration to take action and start creating the life you've always dreamed of.